me your heart on your off days. And tell me if it means something. Marry me, tell me you love me. But only do it when you can. I'm not rushing this love. But can we just find a way to adjust? But if you're busy, baby, I understand. If you don't got time to love me right, write me love tonight. I write a love song.
If there's one question I get asked a lot, it's probably this one.
Why are you gay?
Today, I'm going to be taking you through a deep dive of how to get my preset. It's been trending on Bandlab for about 3 years straight, and it's still going crazy. But this doesn't come with the tweaks and the time that it took to actually make this. Today, you don't got to do any of that. I'm just going to break it all down to you piece by piece, and all you got to do is just take what I give you and use it to your own advantage. So, let's get into it. Quick disclaimer, if you're not following my Instagram, do it right now. My Discord and my vocal preset are both linked in my bio. And while you're there, just drop a follow. Also, if you're joining the Discord, make sure to go follow all of my moderators. I'm going to put their names right here. I appreciate you guys for running this Discord so smoothly in the times that I can't be present. You guys are amazing, and you guys are literally, I don't know how to explain. You guys are the best people ever. Also in the Discord, we're going to be doing regular Song Wars with cash prizes. So make sure you're tapping in and dropping your songs in the Song Wars channel. We're going to do this regularly, probably once a month, or we're probably going to do it live. So if you're not there, you're going to miss out. Oh, and you got to follow me on Instagram to enter. Let's get into the video. And right before I even show you the preset, I do want to give you guys a few examples of what this preset is capable of. Like, I'm going to show you the spectrum as to what this preset can do and what it allows you to do as an artist. A lot of the reason people don't make different types of music is, for one, they're not comfortable, and for two, when they try, it just doesn't sound how they imagine in their head. Now, this thing helps you get that full imagination process put in front of you, like in real life, and it's crazy. I'm about to show you guys from a spectrum of sad to rage music. This is what this preset can do. Okay, so the first song that I'll be showing you guys is called Overthinking. This is going to be from my self-titled project Saint V's, which is coming out very soon. I'll be changing my name to Saint V's as far as music, but content will still be Purple. Now. But that's not the point of the video. This is with the beat first and all the background vocals. I'm only going to do it to this one, show you like me breaking it down all the way. The other ones, I'm just going to show you preset, no preset, preset, no preset, or just the preset on there.
I don't want to make it personal, but I thought that I should let you know that the rain I chill and the pain I feel from you, it's starting to hit my soul.
Now without the beat.
I don't want to make it personal, but I thought that I should let you know that the rain I chill and the pain I feel from you, it's starting to hit my soul.
Alright, so now I'm going to show you the vocals raw with no preset, no effects, and show you kind of what it can do.
I don't want to make it personal, but I thought that I should let you know that the rain I chill and the pain I feel from you, it's starting to hit my soul.
Okay, I guess I was doing a little something on there. I'm not a singer, but I was doing a little something on there. It was good. It sounded alright. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, now let's get into the next one. This is called Flow State, and this is just another uppity type song. I kind of wanted to bring it up a notch and just show you what the preset can do on another type beat. Here you go.
I can switch it up on some new shit. I can call KBs and stack it up and get them blues quick. Niggas talking crazy, why the fuck these niggas stupid? Come through with a 7.62 shooter like I'm Cupid. And these bitches and niggas too superficial. Pull up with the Glock, that bitch be blasting like a missile. I call her KBZ, that be my brother with the pistol.
And then we got Chaotic Drugs, and this is gonna be our rage song.
Every day I'm going up, hit the stoop, roll a two, I get high as fuck. Don't get exhausted, baby. I know how she get when she off drugs. Sticky talk, what we on? Let me show you love.
Alright, so now after seeing all of those, you see the spectrum that this preset can handle, and it's a pretty wide spectrum. Those are just 3 examples, but I'm sure to all the people that make different genres of music, this preset can cater to your sound. So let's take a deep dive into it. Alright, when we take a deep look into the preset, there's really not much going to it. There's really only 7 different separate effects added on here. So it's not that much going on, but it does a lot for you. Firstly, I'm going to go with the DI-GI compressor. This is going to be your standardized compressor. If you look closely, there's going to be 5 buttons you can press. Well, really 6, but this is an on and off button. So 5 buttons that you really got to pay attention to. You have attack, release, threshold, radio.
Bitch,
ratio, and knee. These are all very important to what the compressor does, and I'm going to break them down super easily. Firstly, we have your attack. Your attack can be looked at as your initial sound or your opener. It's the first thing that hits the compressor, and adjusting this will allow it to be emphasized or compressed. The higher that we bring the bar, the more compressed the attack is, and the lower that we bring the bar, the less compressed the attack is. It's a pretty easy spectrum, and this is the same across all of these bars, spin wheels, whatever you want to call them. The higher you bring it, the more that effect happens, and the lower you bring it, the less that effect happens, just so I don't have to break it down in the future. Now for my attack, I have it at a low level. This is just because me, initially when I talk into my mic, I do a swaying motion for some reason, and this doesn't put direct emphasis in the mic. It pushes the emphasis in like different directions, so my mic isn't being like forced sound. It's a recording technique I've done for so long, so it's caused me to not even have to tweak my attack. But for people that talk directly in the mic and are a little loud, that is something that you want to tweak. You actually want to raise that bar and keep doing it until that initial sound doesn't sound so punchy. Next, you have your release, and this is actually going to be the opposite of what attack is. It's going to be the release, what your outro sound is, or what the ending sound is, and how much emphasis is on that. Usually toward the end of the song, you tend to quiet down, so it doesn't matter as much for your main vocals, but it does matter for people who like to hum or do things like that toward the end of the track. Those sounds will be cut out the higher that you put that release. So if you're humming or doing little mumbles, the higher you compress that release, the more of those mumbles will be cut out and not heard. Next, you have your threshold. This is how high the compression goes. Now, let's take a look on a deeper level. We have these vocal bars right here, and this is just a vocal bar of some random vocal. The threshold is this bar right here between the transparent and the straight colored layer right here. This, you can see the separation. They're two different colors. This is going to be the indicator of how high a sound is allowed to go. It's going to be your ceiling. So if this bar was lower, that means that is my ceiling. My sound cannot theoretically get above this many decibels before it gets compressed completely or compressed super hard. If it gets above that threshold, then it's going to get compressed. So any sound decibel or any loud sound you make that's above a certain amount of decibels will get compressed or crunched if it's not within the threshold. Then you have your ratio, and this is pretty self-explanatory. It's a ratio of how much compression you want to vocal. So it's just a vocal to compression ratio. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then the last wheel you have is your knee. This is going to be how fast your compression hits. The more slower or the lower you have the knee, the more slow and gently the compression hits. The higher you have your knee, the more harsh and abrupt the compression is. Next, we have our noise gate. This is also a sort of audio compression tweaker in a way. What it does is it allows you to set your audio to a certain limit or a certain amount of decibels. And when it reaches a limit above that certain amount of decibels, it kind of compresses it or crunches it. An attack is how fast it does it initially, and release is how fast it does it upon release or upon it leaving the vocal chain. Boom. Next, we got the de-esser. If you are a victim of saying your S's super strong, and that is very common for you, this is going to be your best friend. Just kind of self-explanatory. It has a threshold. So how much you want that de-esser to activate is completely up to you. And then you also can change the frequency. So people obviously at different frequencies, and it can be tweaked and lessened if you want to hit a specific frequency. Usually it's one frequency that's just out of tune and super loud that's throwing off everything. So if you hit that specific frequency and bring it to a threshold that's viable, then it's going to work perfectly. Next, we have our EQ3M. This is a frequency tweaker, and unlike what I'm going to show you a little bit later, it is a little bit broader. Overall, it does low, mids, and highs, whereas later it'll kind of break those down into, different sets of frequencies instead of just low, mid, and high. But as you can see, there's going to be a trend actually. There's going to be multiple compressors, frequency tweakers, and just a lot of things that are repeating but that are different types of presets. And that's very common when making a preset because you really don't need much when it comes to voice changes. You want to kind of sound natural to yourself, but these things kind of enhance what you don't inherently know how to enhance yourself unless you have the practice to do so. So like I said, it just covers the lows, the mids, highs, and that's about it. For EQ3M, I have my lows at 0 dB, my mids at 0 dB, my highs at 14.7 dB, and my mid sweep at 2000 hertz. Next, we're going to get into our delay. This is pretty self-explanatory. It is the delay that comes after every time you talk, or the echo in a sense. For delay, you have your time, which is going to be how much time is between your delays. Then you have your feedback, which is the frequency, which is basically how many delays are going to happen between the time. Then you have your high and your low pass, which are frequency tweaks. Unlike frequency, which I said before, which is how often it's going to happen, this is frequency in the sense of voice and hertz. Then you have your dry and your wet level, your dry level being your effects of delay before it is saturated with all of the voice effects, and your wet level is after it is saturated with voice effects. And then you have your volume, which is how loud you want that extra sound to be. And for my D delay, for my time, I have 0.124 hertz. For my feedback, I have 15%. For my high pass, I have 500 hertz. For my low pass, I have 2000 hertz. For my dry level, I have 70 hertz. For my low pass, I have 2000 hertz. For my dry level, I have 70. For my wet level, I have 13. And for my volume, I have 0 dB. Next, we're going to have our graphic EQ. And kind of like the frequency tweaker that we did before with the EQ3M, this doesn't say low, mid, and high. It actually breaks the low, mid, and high into its own different sections. So your 100, 200, 400, or your 100 to 200 probably be your low, 4 to 8 would probably be your mid, and these would be your high down here. So it'll break those up into separate things. And just like as you do with the EQ3M, you tweak this to your liking, and then you have an overall adjuster right here with the level. For my graphic EQ, I have my 100 at negative 6.2 dB, my 200 at 0.0 dB, my 400 at 0.0 dB, my 800 at negative 4.6 dB, my 1.6K at 6.8 dB, my 3.2K at 3.3 dB, my 6.4K at 1.4 dB, and my level at 3.6 dB. And lastly, we're going to have our studio reverb. This is going to place your voice in a room, if that's how you want to think about it. So either you're going to be in a small room where your audio doesn't bounce off of walls and there's not too much echo or sound coming off, or you're going to be in a room that's super big, kind of like a cave, where you're going to have your voice is expanding, there's echo, it's going to have walls to bounce off of. So this kind of places you in that room. Upping that mix is actually going to increase the effect of the reverb. And then the size effect is basically going to make that room bigger or make that room smaller. And then you have your tone, which is going to give brightness to your audio or brightness to that extra reverb effect. Kind of like a delay, kind of not. And for my studio reverb, for my mix, it's at 22%. For my size, it's at 26%. And for my tone, it's at 17%.